Good morning. My name is Susan Reardon. I'm the staff hearing officer, and I call Wednesday, October 6th to order. Today we have 5 items on the agenda, but the last item, item E, which is 468 Canale Road, has been continued to October 20th, so we won't hear that today. And there's been no other changes to the agenda, and I don't have any announcements or appeals. Right? There's no, yeah, okay. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to address the staff hearing officer on items not on today's agenda? Seeing no one, we'll go to the first item, which is 333 Consuelo Drive. And this application was actually continued from September 8th.
Good morning. Yes, Ms. Reardon, I wasn't at the previous hearing, but I understand the project, and just to bring us back to what previously happened, it's a duplex, 2-car garage, 1-car garage, entered here off Consuelo. The proposed project involves an addition to the rear unit over in this area. The modification being requested is to allow the addition to be located within the non-conforming open yard. It was the applicant's position that the backyard is generous, it's unobstructed, and it has an unusual configuration where, although the rear property line is here, there's this like no man's zone that actually belongs to the adjacent mobile home park. However, it's walled and fenced about 5 feet past the property line. So this occupant has had use of that property for probably since its original time of construction. You had issues with the fact that the area being proposed for the addition was the only area that really conforms to the open yard dimensions of 20 feet. And because the documented distances versus the scaled distances had some maybe confusion, we asked that a survey be prepared to really get a clear picture. How much is that open yard? What is that exact dimension? And the applicant was continued in order to obtain the survey, which I believe he has today. So with that, we'll turn the hearing over to the applicant so he can tell us what he's discovered.
Well, my name is Paul Zink, and with me is Leslie Houston, the owner. And she actually was a girl growing up in this back house, and so in this back unit, so she remembers different things and where her bedroom was and such. This is a survey drawing, and everything the engineer does is in feet, and an architect, I use feet and inches. So I'll go through his plan first, and then we'll go to the site plan. What we learned through the survey is from the back of the building to the wall is 24.2 feet, and I was going with 24.5, so I was off by a bit. From the property line to the building is 16.4, and there I was going with 18 feet 3 inches. And how I come up with the discrepancy is in the front of the property, the actual property line is 1.6 feet in front of this block wall. And when I was measuring things, I went from the block wall and I worked backwards and I just subtracted it from the width. So if you add 1.6 to 16.4, you get 18 even, versus I was at 18 feet 3 inches. So that's where the discrepancy. I have a photograph actually, several actually to show you. Here is the block wall, and here is the property line. 19 inches. And how many places in town actually have the property line in the sidewalk versus the back of wall, I'm not sure. But that was the first hiccup. So this is the 16.4. The dimensions inside this middle courtyard, I had them verify, and they comply with what I had drawn. I do believe we all acknowledge that this land actually belongs to the mobile home park. We do know that this wall was built as part of their original set of plans. We don't contest that, but I have the drawings. The interesting thing about our situation is this land, this space that we're talking about, is really affecting about 20 neighbors. I mean, it's not just me. That if the mobile home park ever decides to reclaim that land, their original permit was based upon the wall being placed 8 feet from the property line. So to have them go back is going to create a major problem. To have them go and redevelop this similar to St. Vincent's with 3 or 4 story multifamily housing. It's a big process. They're still going to have to locate their big buildings 30 to 40 feet from the true property line. I don't believe they'll ever go and take that 8 feet because they'll have 20 some odd angry neighbors with them. So the reason why we're here for modification is because it's such an odd but unique situation. We truly have 24 feet between the wall and the house that we get to use, but only 16.4 of it belongs to us. You asked for the footprints of the adjacent parcels. Here's this parcel. I came up with a different number for this dimension here, and I'll show you later, and then their configuration here with their garages. And just to refresh your memory, these drawings I got from San Vicente. This is the property line, this is the 8 feet, this is the true block wall. Why they built it this way or what the requirements were, we don't know. But
Now, this property line is also the city boundary, so this is all county land here.
you're right, and I never told you that, but you were. Isn't that bizarre? I spent time with Charlie Brown at the city surveyor's office going, what's going on here? And he's just like, I don't know. But looking at the property, this is what we own, and it is, I went with 16 feet 5 inches by 70 feet, gives us 1,149 square feet. I'm basically 100 square feet from my 1,250. In my modification that I requested that we reduce the minimum dimension to 14 feet 9 inches. And the reason is I believe that this land needs to be included in the open yard, even though it's not part of the 20 by 20. The requirement for 1,250 square feet, 20 by 20, was established after this building was built, because this building never complied with it. So to say that this land over here and this land over here is more important than this land actually is the exclusive or private open space for the front unit. And in the way I packaged the modification is I requested a reduction from the 20 by 20 to allow me to use 14 feet 9 inches. I have this thing at 16 feet 5 inches times 70, plus this area gives me more than 1,250 square feet. I'm actually 1,677. Where my addition is here, I used to be 11 feet 7 inches because that's where the current non-permitted patio cover is. I reduced it to 6 feet 11 inches so that I'm 20 feet away. And that was something that we talked about. Let's keep the addition 20 feet, and then let's keep this patio cover at 250 square feet, which is what I did. So this is at 250, this is 20 feet from the property line, this is an open area, and this is an open area. I got a couple of photographs to show you real briefly. These are the ones that you saw before that show the backyard. Turns out I was thinking this was the property line in question. It actually, if you can see this edge of the wall thing here, this was their divider between where they had the flower and vegetable garden versus where the lawn is. So when I did my numbers, I didn't catch that I'm off by
Oh, so this
whatever.
is actually the property line right here?
Yeah. And then there is a utility easement across the property, but it's an overhead. The way, if I go back to the site plan real fast, I'm sorry. There's 2 units here. The front door for the first unit is here. The front door for the back unit is back here. So you go down this side, around the corner, and then hello, here's my front door. So it's pretty convoluted. I didn't design it. It is what it is. So to give you a perspective, here's the view from the driveway. What we're going to do is we're going to landscape this walkway and try to make an entrance. This is how you get to the side yard adjacent to the garage. And if you notice the street address, 333B, which is the back unit, is really right over here on a 9-inch wall. It separates it. This is the landscaping, and you can tell my neighbor's Bougainvillea right over here, and then another side view to show you what the established landscaping. On our side, it's nothing, but we plan on putting stuff there. On the opposite side, you can tell they have mature landscaping. And here is the dimension that I came up with. It's different than that aerial, so I don't know what's going on, but they still have some outdoor living space here, and then this was going to be ours. And this is a previous picture from before, showing the wall. So I kind of want to say, when we look at how we apply the open yard requirements, and the staff looks at putting it here first and here second, that's a policy that you have internally. I have not seen that as an architect on the outside. I wasn't aware of it until the last meeting we had. I appreciate your perspective is that you see it from both sides, both ways. And I look at it as if you want to give a kid an apple for a snack after school, you can cut it up and down or you can cut it side to side. At the end of the day, the kid has an apple to play with. I look at the 1,250 square foot open yard as a requirement as to give children a place to play other than the street. And so I see this as important and I see this as important. And we're doing a modest addition of 134 square feet, a 250 square foot covered patio. I deducted the trellis off here because that's what we talked about. I would like to ask to have it back just because I think it's a nice amenity for the neighbor. It was open, even though you add all three of these areas and you're less than 500 square foot of new impervious roof area. We saw it as trellis for vines and all that kind of fun stuff. But I did drop it from the plans because we talked about it. But I'm just looking at our addition and looking at what is available for the owners to play with, and they have the 24 feet. And the likelihood of somebody moving this wall back is fairly slim, but without that area, I still have the 1,250 square feet.
Okay.
So that's what I have.
I have one question is, how are these owned? Do you own the duplex?
Yes.
Okay, so you...
She actually lives in this unit,
Okay.
and her sister was here, and then at times it was a renter. Now she's going to move into here and use that as a rental property.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure if we're designating things on the site that we have the owners okay.
Yes.
And I didn't remember how it was held in ownership, so you own the whole duplex.
I own the whole duplex.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. That was my question. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the staff hearing officer on 333 Consuelo Drive? Now, we received one letter from Paula Westbury against the project. Did you want? Is this yours or?
Yes.
I believe you got one.
That's fine. I can look at it in the record.
Thank you.
So I'll close the public hearing. I have a zoning question, Roxanne, regarding encroachments into the open yard. That is an additional modification. So to exceed that 20% encroachment, we would need a mod. However, I wanted to ask Roxanne that I know in terms of main entrances into the units, we don't include that in the required open yard or the non-conforming open yard. It's netted out.
In the multifamily zones, this is R2 zoning in the open yard as long as it's not in the front yard.
So we allow a main access way.
Typically, it wouldn't occur because the front door would be in the front yard. This is a unique situation, but yes, it's our understanding that doesn't apply in this situation.
Because what I was thinking is that the area of the trellis over the entryway, if that could be deducted and then added back here, since it's not. Typically, we don't allow that to be counted as part of your open yard area. But you're right, yeah, because like multiple family development, when you required that 15 by 15 open area, I don't allow the walkway to be included in that 15 by 15 area just because it's against.
Okay, and the code says entry decks or porches cannot be included. If we are practicing even the walkway to it, that's
Okay.
news to me too.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, no, that's fine. All right, I would just.
But again, in the R2, it's straightforward, 1,250, not in the front yard.
Okay. All right. That's my question. I think that your the information you provided and your revised plans, it responds to all my concerns. It has the one area of 20 by 20. When we were discussing the project at the last hearing, this area, kept nagging at me because I have the same concerns as you, but I'm glad that it is the same owner. If we start designating this being their only open yard area, then this private area, which has been used by the front unit, could be whittled away, and then these people don't have any place to recreate because in reality they're not going to walk back to the backyard and play. So they have the front yard, which is not real conducive to, oh, here it is right here.
It's well landscaped, but it is terraced, hilly.
Yeah, to be used. So I can accept this is being counted as part of the open yard area. And I would like the minutes to reflect that what you're non-conforming to is the dimension, because you do have the 1,250 square foot minimum area. And so that the modification isn't to reduce that below the 1,250 square feet. You still need to have that on your site, and you still need to keep it, forever. It's just the minimum dimensions is what you're not meeting.
Correct.
So with that comment, I can make the you know what? The findings are for denial.
But that was
So
that was the old.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I can make the findings in the staff report, but that wouldn't work. Okay, Mr. Staff hearing officer finds the modification request. I find that the request to have the open yard area be less than the minimum 20-foot dimensions consistent with the purposes and intent of the zoning ordinance, and that there is adequate area on site that meets the intent of the zoning ordinance.
This 1677, could that be reduced down to a 1250, or?
They're just required to have 1250, so yes.
Okay.
But
I wouldn't mind, locking me into keeping this as a certain number, because really it's these two zones. And I'll play my chip for the trellis again.
okay, and then I'd like to add a condition that the open area be shown on the building plans, the required open yard area, so that we just have documentation of what
and
we
just for clarification, this area which now provides the 20-foot minimum dimension, would that be included and required to be maintained? Because that's not included in this number.
This number here was
It's
this
just that.
rectangle and was this rectangle. I'm okay with saying
I
that-
want the rectangle to go like this, or it's not a rectangle, I want an L like this, because this is the 20-foot, so have it come here out.
then I don't need this.
I have this, just go to whatever.
But I'm only 100 square feet shy, and if I just do this, I meet my 1,250, and now I have another room for another bedroom.
No, this is going to be on your building plans. I want this area between the front unit and the rear unit to be included as part of your open yard area. And you know my...
No, I'm all right with that. I mean, I agree with you logically, but I'm going to say now we're going to be like really...
Okay, so clarification. This is 528 square feet, so that has to be a part of the 1250. This proportion with the 20-foot minimum dimensions needs to be included within the 1250. Up to the property line and over to
Perfect.
a point we get 1250, which would allow him to put the trellis without benefit of a mod.
To follow up on what Roxanne said, here's 500, and then I'm going to make some rectangle here, and this rectangle plus this equals 1,250, and what's remaining over here, whatever it is, then I can put the trellis in this spot.
I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
Because it's 1250. However, I don't want your non-conforming open yard to include this area right here.
I'm all right with that.
I don't want even though the code may allow it,
Okay.
I'm giving you a modification. I want it to end. So
We're on the same page now?
that,
To
and
some
so wherever
point.
it goes. So like what I was doing here, just wrap it around.
Yeah, that's
until-
your pink line right here.
Yeah.
That to that, and then whatever's left
Well, this
can
would
be a
actually go
trellis.
over maybe over here because I originally included this area.
But you were trying to make the whole 1,250 in that zone, and you weren't giving me 500
Oh, right.
credit, so that
Yeah.
we'll move that to there.
Excellent.
It's a win-win.
Okay?
Cool.
So, good luck capturing that, Gabrielle.
So the condition is that the required open yard area be shown on the building plans,
Yes.
but the rest of the conversation doesn't need to be included, right?
Correct. That I just wanted it to reflect that the revised plans, and then
That now it meets.
and the modification was for minimum dimensions. Okay. So my action is appealable to the Planning Commission within 10 calendar days, and they have oversight authority of all of my actions. And if they felt this warrants additional discussion before them, they can call us up during the same 10-day appeal period. If either of those would happen, Ms. Laws would contact you.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you. I'll leave you with this set of plans.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
These photographs too.
The next project is 216 Natoma Avenue.
Thank you.
Probably.
She usually has them all nicely coded.
Nice, yeah.
Okay, this project site's on a 6,000 square foot R4 lot, current development on site off of Natoma, consists of a 2-story duplex and a driveway down to an undersized 2-car garage with storage. The proposed project involves a remodel to the structures, to the site, and demolition of the existing garage and replacement with a larger 2-car garage in pretty much the same location. The expansion of the garage is going to project out in here, although the existing length is non-conforming. So in order to expand it the required 3 feet to make the 20-foot dimension within the 6-foot setback, the applicant is asking for a modification to have 18 square feet of that expansion located within the interior yard setback. Staff sees this as a necessary modification to secure the appropriate dimensions to provide 2 conforming size parking spaces for the lot.
And this is all legal right now, right?
We couldn't really prove the storage was legal. He is removing it.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. You want to state your name for the record?
Yes, Bill Wolf with Pacific Architects.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think Roxanne did a real good job explaining it. Again, just to reiterate that there is an existing storage unit, which I think may not be legal, actually, and so we're taking it off. And again, the reason for extending that was really because of transportation's need to get the required 20-foot clearance inside the garage to meet the parking requirements. So other than that, I did also, just to reiterate, I did work the detail out with Stacy at Transportation for the backup dimension and the parking in the garage location, and it all works with her. So.
Oh, good. That's what I had the question on. I also was wondering what, if any, changes. I know you're redoing the driveway up here because it just seems it's really narrow, and then to get back to really use the garage.
It is a narrow drive. We're not changing any of the wall dimension. The location of the footprint is pretty much in that location now. We are extending it out a little further here in the back. That fortunately didn't affect our maneuverability in the back. So we are still able to back and make a turn and head out nose front as we proceed out the driveway. The width of the driveway is going to remain. We're going to change the material, though, from a concrete to a permeable paver now, so that should hopefully be a little greener. But we were able to actually work. And part of the reason for making this garage a little bit wider was to make the turnaround work a little better. So that was, but it's all working now at this point. No change in the driveway width, though.
So, like the landscaping here,
That's all going to stay at this point. We don't have any plan to make any changes to any of the plantings along this edge. What we are doing is in the front yard, is we're going to add a little low wall there and create a little outdoor space in the front. It's kind of a nice pedestrian community there, and we thought it'd be nice to actually have access to that front. So we're going to do a little short wall there, again, 30 inches. Actually, it might even be 30-inch height, and then make a little patio in sandstone. And again, well planted and landscaped in the front. We're going to leave a lot of those plants there. So, and then again, this will all stay and maintained, planted as it is. She likes those bougainvillea and the tropicals there. So.
Okay. All right, I think that was my only question right now. I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to address the staff hearing officer on 216 Natoma Avenue? No? Did we receive any letters for this? Okay. So I'll close the public hearing. You actually answered my one main question regarding backup and getting
Oh,
out
yeah.
of the driveway.
It was definitely
So-
all of our concerns, so I made sure we made that work in the beginning.
Yeah. The other question, Roxanne, since this is proposed on the property line, this is something we require a survey at time of building permit, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any concerns. It's a reasonable request. The building does bump up right against the property line, but there is a carport on the other side that has a wall, so it's a wall against a wall.
Yeah, we'll have two block, we're going to obviously do a CMU masonry block wall against our side too, so the augment not having to plaster or finish that side. And again, it'll butt up against the adjacent property, so it will be a finished material when it's installed. So,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the addition, it reduces the amount of the encroachment currently there. It's appropriate to have the garage tucked back into the back of the property. So I can make the findings outlined in the staff report. And there's no proposed conditions. I don't think I need to add one. If necessary, they will request the survey, but I don't think that's something I need to require.
we have
So-
a surveyor and a civil engineer, and we'll be providing civil drawings for the grading and drainage plan. We're very concerned about just making sure we get water out and,
Right.
applying to the current city ordinances for swamp, is it? I think
Yeah,
it's-
correct. Correct.
So we're dealing with that as well.
Okay, well, great. So I make the findings, approve your project. My action is appealable to the Planning Commission within 10 calendar days, and they also have oversight authority of all my actions, and if they felt this warranted discussion before them for some reason, they have the ability to call it up, and if either of those two were happening, Ms. Milazzo would contact you. Okay?
Good, great, thank you.
Thanks. Uh-huh.
Now, can I go ahead and submit for final design review?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, today, or should
Yes,
I
you
wait?
can.
Okay, good.
It's just at your own risk, but go ahead. You can go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, okay, good, all right, thank you.
The next item is 2010 Garden Street. If the applicant would like to come up. Morning.
Good morning. Okay, this project site, irregular shaped lot located on the corner of Garden and Mission Streets. Current development on site consists of a single-family residence, a detached accessory structure, and a swimming pool. The proposed project involves alterations to the accessory structure. There are architectural improvements. It was originally constructed as a garage. It's been used for many years as a pool cabana. It needs an upgrade. The new roof elements will match those of the residence. No new floor area is being proposed, but the existing pitched roof is going to look like this now. On the sides, it results in a small expansion of the height of the building, but again, it's architectural. Staff feels that this is a modification that secures an appropriate improvement of improved architectural style. The Design Review Board agrees with that position, as well as our urban historian. Staff is asking for approval of this project as submitted.
Great, thank you. If you'd like to state your name for the record and add
Okay.
anything else?
Thai architect, I can never add anything more than what Roxanne can explain. I just want to add that we started out simply want to repair the roof because it's sagging. And then one thing leads to the other. And, the roof material is different from the house and it doesn't look right. So finally we decided since we're doing it right. It's an architectural enhancement because we're 5 feet within the setback. That's why we're here to request the approval of the modification. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, I do have a question. I think this site is on the potential list, right? So you've been working with Jake, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I remembered And thank you for meeting me on the site
Yeah,
yesterday.
thank you, yeah.
All right, I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the staff hearing officer on 2010 Garden Street? Any letters on this one? No? Okay, so I'll close the public hearing. Like I said, I went out to the site and you did a good job explaining the project. And again, I think this is another project that it's an appropriate request. It's an existing structure. You're not adding floor area to it. There's an existing grade difference between this property and the adjacent property, and the roof change will have no impacts to your neighbor. And so I can make the findings outlined in the staff report and approve your project. And this, the staff is suggesting a condition, and that's just placing the note on the plans that the hedge along the front Mission Street will comply with Section 2887-170. And at this time, the council has suspended enforcement of it, but it's just noting that it needs to comply with it, and whatever happens in the future with council amending that section, just to kind of put the property owners on alert that it needs to comply with that section.
Can you educating a little bit about that section? Is the height should not be more than
3.5 feet.
3.5
yeah,
feet.
unless they ask for a
Okay.
modification and provide justification on why
Okay.
it should be higher.
Okay.
But the standard code requirement is 3.5 feet
Okay.
within 10 feet of a property line,
Okay.
or just a distance of 20 feet back along the driveway, and that's for visibility.
Okay.
And right now, what the council's suspended is the enforcement of over-height hedges just along the property line, but not around the driveway where it might be a safety hazard. So that's the provision.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you very much.
Sure. So my action is appealable to the Planning Commission within 10 calendar days, and like you heard me say on the other two, they have the oversight authority, and
Yeah, okay.
if they decide to call it up during that 10-day period, or if someone appeals it, Ms. Milazzo would contact you.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the last project is 525 East Mitchell Traina Street. Good morning.
Thank you. The project site's about a half acre, located on Mitchell Traina Street. Here's the building footprint, roof overhangs. Currently occupied by office use. The proposed project involves the installation of 2 chimneys that'll house cellular antenna equipment. There currently are 2 other chimneys on the opposite corners of the property. This is an application to provide these 2. Because the building is 3 stories high, it has a 20-foot setback. And as you can see, the installation of this chimney requires modification approval for its location. It's staff's position that the building is already there. This is more of an architectural element, although it does provide a function. It's more of an architectural element on this portion of the building, does not intensify its use. And that the installation will allow for improved cellular communication systems to be installed on site. We feel that we can meet the purpose and intent of the ordinance, and that it's not intensifying floor area. It's just in addition to the portion of the building located in that location.
Okay, great, thank you. Would you like to state your name for the record?
Yes, good morning. My name is Scott Dunaway. We took this project, or I took this project through ABR and received final ABR on the project. And one of the conditions that they put on it was to match the existing locations. And so with that, we were trying to put a little symmetrical to the project and match the frontage. And with that, we're encroaching within the 20-foot setback. So I do have some photos that we did some renderings for. There's existing and then proposed.
Existing on the screen. There you go.
He's chasing it.
So again, we've got existing and then our 2 proposed. And then another vantage point. of existing and then proposed just all four corners of the property. And one last one.
And so these have already received approval by ABR? And was
We-
it noted after the fact that
Yes.
you needed a
We
mark?
did.
Plan check, we identified that because of the three-story structure, it had that larger setback.
Okay,
Right, it was a plan check comment.
okay.
So that is why it's here requesting the 20-foot setback modification.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who'd like to address the staff hearing officer on 525 East Mitchell Traina? I see no one. We received a letter from Gino Quaranta and Sharon McGuire.
Neighbors.
Against the project. Given potential exposure to radiation. Have you seen a copy of it? We can make a
Just
copy for you.
received that late yesterday, so
Okay.
we can make copies.
Right, so I'll close the public hearing. Okay, I went out to the site and saw the existing situation in the neighborhood, and the request that's before me is for the modification, not the use. So what I look at is the proposed addition or alteration to the building consistent with the purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. And so given that, and looking at the fact that it is an existing building, you're not increasing the floor area of the building. Like Ms. Milazzo said, it is an architectural feature, although it does have some function. It's from a person walking down the street, and even as the letter attests, you can't tell it's an antenna. It looks like it's a chimney or some kind of, not really tower, but it's just a projection from the roof. So I believe, so I can make the findings outlined in the staff report that it is an appropriate improvement and that it is consistent with the purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance, and approve the project. And there's not any suggested conditions of approval, and I don't believe I need to add any. It's already gone through the design review process, so any potential visual impacts to it has been looked at and through that process. So I approve the project. And as you heard me say on the other projects before you, it's appealable within 10 calendar days, and the Planning Commission has oversight authority on all my projects. And so if they were to call it up or if it was to be appealed, Ms. Milazzo would contact you.
Okay.
All right?
Great.
Okay, and your next step is to wait for your approval letter, reproduce that on the cover sheet of your plans, and then get back into the plan check process.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Now, one of these sets was a plan check set.
Unfortunately, like this one's marked up. How's yours look?
I think mine's the set. Okay, so with that, I adjourn the meeting.
You can have that back.
Great. Thank you.